Hello everyone! Today, I'm going to show you my favorite free PDF scanners to take photos of your documents. On Android devices, you could have been using Cam Scanner, but it has ads and displays watermarks for the PDFs. For iOS devices, in the Notes app, there's a scan document option. It will automatically detect the page and take an image of it automatically, or you can manually take a photo and adjust it yourself. There's also the option to apply filters to the page and rotate it. I can take another page as well and save the PDF as a note. Then, I can click on the PDF and share with others. However, the iOS Notes app has not much features, so I'm going to show you two other PDF scanners that you can use which has more features. The first application is going to be Microsoft Lens. Similar to the iOS Notes app, it automatically detects documents and objects, so that taking a document is so much easier. There are images from my phone's gallery that I can use, or I can take a photo. Once I take a photo, I can adjust the size of the page. Then, I'm going to take another page. Once I'm done, there are some extra features, like having more filters, adding ink, adding text, and reordering the pages. Starting with filters, there are a large variety of filters that I can choose from. For ink, there are only the colors of red, green, blue, yellow, white, and black. Sadly, if I want to zoom in to get a neater drawing, I am unable to do so. If I make a mistake, I can tap on undo and confirm once I'm done. For text, it is the same colors as drawing, and once I am done typing, I can move it to different locations of the page and resize it. I can reorder the pages as well. Once I'm done with the whole PDF, I can easily rename it as it gives me quite a number of options. I can save it to quite a number of locations. I can save it to my gallery as images, save it as a PDF to my local storage or OneDrive, save it to OneNote, and save it to Word or PowerPoint. Of course, you can share the file and save it to other locations as well. For the immersive reader, it converts the whole PDF into text and reads it aloud for you. There are quite a number of options, like changing the speed of how it reads, and changing it to be male or female voice. There are also other viewing options, like changing the text size and font. There are also lots of background colors. If you do not understand the text language in the PDF, there's a translate option. Sadly, once a PDF is exported from Microsoft Lens, it does not have OCR for the exported document, which means that copying text is not possible. Aside from taking photos of a document, there are also more options below. If you go to Actions, the first feature allows you to extract text. I can take a photo of an image with text, crop to the text I would like to extract, and I can easily copy or share the text with others. The second feature is quite similar to the first one, but it converts the text into a table. Then, copy the table and you can paste it into a spreadsheet. The third feature is to read aloud text, similar to the immersive reader. You can take a photo of text and Microsoft Lens would read the text out loud.
Solutions P, Q, and R are tested with blue and red litmus papers. The results are shown in the table.
The features are the same as the immersive reader. The other features are to take a photo of a contract and scan a QR code. There's also the option to take a photo of a whiteboard or scan a business card. That's all for Microsoft Lens. The second application is Adobe Scan. Firstly, there is a feature to turn on or off auto capture, similar to the iOS Notes app. When I use this app, I would normally turn off auto capture. If you use auto capture, the first thing I see after taking a photo is to crop the page. After that, I will take another page. If you're scanning a book, there is a book option. It will take one page from the left and the other page from the right. Going to the document features, there are more options than Microsoft Lens. Starting with filters, you could have realized that it automatically filtered the page after cropping it, so changing the filter is normally not necessary. However, if you want to change the filter, there are not as much options as Microsoft Lens. Next, we have the cleanup option. If there are unnecessary marks on the document, you can use this useful tool to erase those marks. I can zoom in and out of the page to erase more precisely, and increase the size of the eraser. There is an undo and redo button above if a mistake is made. Next, there is a markup feature, which has become better after the new update. There is the extra shapes option, but before that, this is better than Microsoft Lens as I can adjust the stroke width and opacity of the pen. I can also zoom in and out. For shapes, there are simple shapes that can be added into the page. If you're planning to print the document after scanning it, then this resize option will be useful. The other options are to reorder the pages and delete unnecessary ones. I can rename the file and save it as a PDF. It will bring me to the home screen for more options. I can share the file and share a copy. You can also email the file, but I do not suggest you to share using the link as the recipient might have issues viewing the file. I can also open the file in Acrobat for better viewing options. Opening in Acrobat has a read aloud feature. I can save it as photos, and I can have even more options. There will be OCR for the text if I export from Adobe Scan. If you install the Adobe Scan app, they will ask you to sign in or sign up for an Adobe account. Using an Adobe account has a great advantage, so that you can view it on other devices. I can access it through the app on any device, or I can view it on the web. If the Adobe account is a free account, it will give 2 GB of storage for all the scans. If you save it to OneDrive using Microsoft Lens, it is 5 GB of storage for a free account. However, it includes all other files, not only PDFs, so I would rather have more space for my PowerPoint presentations and Word documents. So I personally prefer using Adobe Scan instead of Microsoft Lens. And Adobe Scan has more features as well. For the default scanner on Android, there is Google Drive. Tap on the plus icon on the bottom right and tap on Scan. It will redirect to the phone's camera app, so filters and changing of lenses are available. Once I take a photo, I can choose to accept or retake the photo. Now I'm going to take another photo. Once done, the features are similar to the iOS Notes app, so Google Drive filters and enhances the document page as well. I have other options which iOS also have, like changing image enhancement settings, paper size for printing, paper orientation and image quality. However, the biggest downside is that it forces you to save to Google Drive. I can switch account or change the location, and I can save the document. Then, once it is uploaded, I can share the file using Google email address, or I can share a copy to other locations. In conclusion, if you are a Microsoft user, you should use Microsoft Lens. If you are an Adobe user who uses the other Adobe apps as well, then you should use Adobe Scan. That's all for this video. If this video helped, give this video a like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.